Hey there, and welcome. We're about to go on a little visual journey to understand one of the most powerful and honestly most invisible forces in finance. And don't worry, we're not going to be pulling out any complex formulas or spreadsheets. Nope. We're going to explore the power of compounding using simple, really powerful ideas. Okay, let's just dive right in.
It all really starts with a question like this. How does a single seed become a whole forest? The answer? Well, it's the same for both. It's all about small, consistent growth over a long, long time. And that, right there, is the heart of compounding. It's this natural force that just works quietly in the background, turning these tiny, tiny beginnings into absolutely massive outcomes. It's happening all around us in nature, and believe it or not, it's also happening with our money.
So, in this explainer, we're going to look at this incredible force from every single angle. We'll kick things off with how it can work for you, creating a powerful growth engine. But then we're going to have to look at its dark side, what I call the debt trap. After that, I'll show you a simple shortcut to measure its power, and finally, we'll figure out how to harness this force for ourselves. All right, let's start with the good stuff. Think of compounding as a way to plant seeds that one day are going to grow into a forest of wealth for you. So, what is this stuff really? Well, put simply, it's just interest that earns its own interest. Picture it like this. You have a small team of workers. Those are your dollars. As they work, they earn more dollars. Now, with compounding, those brand new dollars also join the team, and they start working too. And then their earnings do the exact same thing. Your workforce just starts to multiply, all by itself. Now, what's really fascinating here is how this whole journey looks over time. I mean, in the beginning, the growth is so slow, it's almost invisible, kind of like a tiny seedling just poking through the dirt. You might even feel like, is anything even happening? But then momentum starts to build. That curve starts to bend upwards, like a young tree really reaching for the sun. And then finally, you hit what's called the exponential phase, and that's where the growth just becomes explosive. That tree is now a giant, dropping its own seeds and starting the whole incredible process all over again. So, here's the crucial point, the real takeaway. The magic isn't in how much money you start with, it's in the ingredients you give it. And the first one is time. The longer your money works, the more powerful that upward curve becomes. The second one is consistency. You got to keep adding fuel to the fire. It's just like we see in so many financial examples. Someone who starts investing even small amounts early on can end up with way more than someone who invests huge amounts, but much later in life. But here's the thing. This force has two sides, a flip side. If it's not working for you, you can bet it's working against you, building a debt trap. It's just like a slow, silent leak in your finances that, if you ignore it, can turn into a devastating flood. The real danger here lies in how debt interest is calculated. See, unlike simple interest, which is only based on the original amount you borrowed, compound interest, well, that's calculated on the original amount plus all the interest that's already piled up. And for things like credit cards, this can happen daily. That means you're paying interest on yesterday's interest. That leak just gets faster and faster every single day. And this chart, wow, this brilliantly shows why high interest debt feels so hard to escape. In the beginning of a loan, say a mortgage, the vast majority of your payment is just going to cover the interest. Almost nothing goes toward paying down the actual amount you borrowed, the principal. It can literally take years before your payments start to make a real dent in what you actually owe. And you can see this trap in action everywhere, right? Credit cards with that daily compounding, student loans where interest builds up and then gets added back onto the principal balance. They call that capitalization. And of course, payday loans, which combine just insanely high rates with frequent compounding to create a cycle that is notoriously difficult to break. Okay, so now that we get the two sides of this force, let's learn a really simple tool to predict its path. Think of it like a mental map to help you navigate this complex journey, and you don't even need a calculator. It's called the Rule of 72, and it is a beautifully simple little shortcut to estimate how many years it's going to take for an amount of money to double, whether it's an investment you're trying to grow or a debt you desperately need to shrink. And using it could not be easier. You just take the number 72 and you divide it by whatever the interest rate is. That's it. The answer you get is the approximate number of years it'll take for the money to double. Now, it's just an estimation, of course, but it's remarkably accurate for most common interest rates. So let's try it out. Let's say your investment is earning a return of 8% per year. How long till it doubles? Okay, 72 divided by 8 is 9. So about 9 years. Not bad. Now let's flip it. What about that credit card with an 18% interest rate?
72 divided by 18 is 4. Your debt will double in just 4 years. Whoa. Seeing it that clearly really shows you the urgency on one side and the incredible opportunity on the other.
All right, so we've seen the growth engine and we've seen the debt trap. We have our mental map with the rule of 72. Now, let's bring it all together. Let's talk about how to actively, intentionally harness this force in your own life.
You know, it really all comes down to this choice, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the tree. You use the tools of savings and investments to patiently build your wealth, which leads you toward a feeling of freedom. And on the other side, you've got that leaky faucet. High-interest loans work against you, creating a debt spiral and just a constant feeling of financial stress.
So if you want to grow your forest, the strategy is actually pretty simple. First, start now. Today. Time is your absolute greatest ally. Those first few years, do all the heavy lifting. Second, be consistent. Even small, regular contributions are like watering that seed every day. And third, put your money to work. I mean, savings are safe, but investments are where your money truly gets a chance to compound and really, really grow.
And what about fixing the leaks? Well, you have to be incredibly careful about the debt you take on. Focus all your firepower on paying down the debts with the highest interest rates first. Those are the fastest leaks, the biggest holes in the boat. And whenever you possibly can, pay more than the minimum. That little bit of extra money is the only part of your payment that goes directly to plugging the hole, not just bailing out the water. Ultimately, understanding this force, it's not really about math, is it? It's about empowerment. It gives you a clear choice, a clear vision for the path you want to take. You know, there's a famous quote, people often say it was Albert Einstein, that just perfectly captures everything we've talked about. It goes, "Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it." It's that simple. It's a choice between earning and paying. So I'll just leave you with this. After seeing how this incredible force works, what's one tiny seed you can plant today for your future? And on the other side, what's one small leak that you can start to fix? The power to choose which one to focus on, that's entirely yours.